What is up, everybody? This is my post-World Juniors top 16 draft rankings. It's been a little bit, but we need to dive right into things. Starting off with number one, been really controversial. You could pick any of these four guys, in my opinion. It's all really close, and I think it will come down to the wire when it's all said and done. But right now, I've had multiple guys, and it's changed throughout these past couple weeks even. But number one for me is got to be Matthew Schaefer. Schaefer is just a crazy good offensive defenseman. I really love the traits with the speed, the puck handling, the transition, great IQ, the passing. I love him with the puck on his stick. And we saw that in the World Juniors. I know he only played 2 games, but in the World Juniors, we saw him play a lot more smarter defensively, more physical, and just more in a shutdown type of role. More rounding out his game as a two-way defenseman, not just some crazy skating guy, but real as a complete defenseman. And that's really what stood out to me is his mobility in the offensive zone, but also just being so reliable, eating a ton of minutes for Team Canada, having 2 points in one game versus Finland, and was really looking like their best player in that game. I think right now this should be the obvious first overall pick now. With the second overall pick, I have Michael Misa. And I think that the World Junior snub is not going to affect him. He's still an incredible talent. I mean, the reason that I love him so much is just because of the all-around game. He has so many great traits with the hands, the shot, the effort's great, the defensive capabilities. He's a well-rounded center. He's kind of everything I want in a player. Just good everywhere and has some elite tools. And really, the sky is the limit for this dude. This guy's production, he's averaging 2 points a game in the OHL. We're really putting it all together, rounding out his game fully. I mean, great skater, too. Just very smart player. I really like what I see with him. And potentially could flip between him and Schaefer. I go back and forth all the time. Number 3, James Higgins. I think that Higgins has had some inconsistencies and some growing pains going into the NCAA because of the more physical game, and that's understandable. I have been lower on him to start the year, but after watching the World Juniors, I kind of did start to like him a little bit more with his calmness with the puck and his smart decision making with the high IQ and really thriving alongside Perreault and Leonard. I would really like to see him more like with his skill set of like creating things on his own without Perreault and Leonard. I want to see him like go for like some crazy moves that he did last year, like just really showing out his speed and like attacking defenders in a bunch of different ways. I want to see him continue to grow that more confidence throughout the NCAA, and I would love to see him do that, and then he'll creep up to the top 2 for sure if he can just continues on this good pace that he's at. Number 4, I have Porter Martone currently. Porter Martone is an interesting one. He had a really interesting showcase at the World Juniors because he wasn't playing a ton, got scratched for some games. I don't know what the fuck that was about, but he's just they tried to put him in a bottom 6, like, checking role when he's the most skilled fucking player on the team. I don't know what that is. I mean, the skill set is unreal. I mean, he's a 6'4", 6'3", power... Not even like power forward. He's just a pure goal scorer. He's a sniper. His playmaking's unreal. I think the passing's very nice, and he does use his size with the puck very well. I'd like to see him use it a little bit better in those capabilities, and I think there's a lot to work with the frame and the skill set. And his skating does have to get a little bit better. He doesn't have that elite pop as the other 3 guys ahead of him. That's why he sits at 4. But that skill set, the tools, the shot, I mean, he's very skilled, and he's a very fun, special player to watch. But he's just got to use his size more, be more consistent on his forechecking ability, be a little bit more physical in those areas. But right now, he's number 4, and he's a special talent, though, for sure. At number 5, I have Victor Eklund, sorry. Victor Eklund is someone who's just a very interesting player. He's just like a little rat out there. He's got insane skill, but like he gets under your skin in so many ways in that offensive zone. Like he's not afraid. Like he's like 160 pounds, and he's out there versus men in Sweden, and he's just getting underneath their skin, just getting low and just forechecking it and using his skills under pressure, just like driving the net. I really like what I'm seeing with this kid. Very impressive at such a young age with the production and the Allsvenskan, and then also the World Juniors. He's playing a pretty decent role for Sweden, who is actually a very good team, an older team, and I was surprised he'd really get that role. And just a bunch of different. You can turn him into anything, really. I mean, he's an incredible pace pusher. He's got some pretty nice hands, and just the the physical, not even the physicality, like the forechecking ability, like the willpower, the determination with the effort and the compete is really what stands out to me. Number 6, I'm gonna go with Caleb Denoyer. Denoyer is very interesting. I I really like this game as really like an offensive centerman, but does have some decent defensive capabilities. But I really like him as like kind of like an all-around center almost. He's a pretty good workhorse center with some really nice hands and a pretty good shot, but also just like very mature in so many different ways. I mean, you can just see like when you watch a game of Caleb Denoyer, you can really see that he's controlling the game, and he really, when he can slow it down with his hands, decision making, and IQ, he looks unstoppable out there. And he's really amazing. He's been quite productive this year. I think he has like 1.5 points a game in the queue. That's very impressive. Just a great centerman who can provide a ton of value up front. Could be a potential top 6 centerman at the next level. At number 7, I have Roger McQueen. And this is a very interesting one because Roger McQueen is someone who is missing a ton of time this year due to an injury, but almost like a unicorn type of player because he is just this big, like 6'5", 6'6" forward who's not a power forward at all. He's like a more skill guy who's like so big out there, and he's just so fun to watch. I mean, his hands are really nice for a big guy, and his shot's very nice too, and the playmaking's very good as well. I mean, I saw him play last year as well. I mean, he was productive in the games that he was playing. Just an incredible, just finisher. He was around the net. He actually does use his size fairly well in getting into those scoring opportunities. I mean, off the rush, really uses his size well and uses his skill set with his hands and his size productively. That in the future could be very scary. I think he has a top. Honestly, maybe even top 3, but I think he's a top 5 potential in this draft for sure if he can use that size better and just keep staying healthy and really turning into a big point producer. I think it could be really special with Roger McQueen. With the number 8, I have where is he? Oh, here he is. Jackson Smith. Jackson Smith is someone who's really fun to watch. I've been watching him with Tri-City a ton recently, and I've been really liking his kind of all-around offensive game. I mean, very creative with the puck. I mean, I see him do spinoramas, like bounce passes off the boards. He skates into it. He goes around, attacks defenders. Been pretty responsible defensively, and his point totals might not pop out to you, but you really have to look in that gray area when you can really see it all. And he is really special when it comes down to just overall like creativity and the puck moving ability. The skating ability is really nice. He's a really special player with the puck on his stick. And the numbers might not pop out to you, but like I feel like that team wasn't great over there, and a lot of creating plays that he's creating are just not finding the back of the net, which is causing his point totals to not be skyrocketing. But Jackson Smith, a very special player and super talented, and is a really exciting player as well. Number 9, I have Lyndon Lakovich. He is just a big riser for me. I didn't even have this guy in my top 20 to start the year, and I just cannot stop liking what I see in this player. I mean, 6'4", powerful winger who skates very well, who's got some really solid hands, who uses his size incredibly. This is what I want to see with Porter Martone and Roger McQueen off the rush. Like, I want to see them truly using their size to really attack defenders and using their speed as well. I mean, I see him all the time with his just like using his size so well that like it's just so easy for him because he's so fast as well, and he's got a really nice shot and with some decent hands. Got some really good offensive tools. He reminds me a little bit of like a Caden Lindstrom in a couple ways. Maybe doesn't have that type of skill, but in those ways he's just so dominant physically and skill wise that it's just really scary when he's on the ice. With the number 10 overall player, I currently have Radim Murtka. He is a 6'6" defenseman out of the Seattle Thunderbirds. He just came over there, and he's just very great at so many different things. The frame is amazing at like 6'6", 210, I think he is, and he's just the skating ability for a big guy is insane. And the defensive smarts are really nice. The shutdown capability, the physicality is unheard of. It's very nice, and the puck moving ability very nice as well. But what's really shocking and surprising to me is his offensive potential. His shot is very nice, and he's really getting into those areas on the blue line, coming down low, using his skills to really get down low and create offensive opportunities. And he is probably going to even go higher than this, maybe in the top 7. He's probably going to go above Jackson Smith if he continues to have this pace in the WHL. I really love what I'm seeing from Radim Murtka, and he should be the sky is the limit for me. Is everything in the toolbox with the frame. With the 11th overall player, I need to find him. Here he is. Carter Bear, the Everett Silvertips. And Carter Bear is just so great at like just an all-around center. I mean, a really great pace pusher. He's got some pretty good skill. I mean, he moves fairly well. His point totals have been skyrocketing this year, nearly 2 points a game in the WHL. I mean, Everett's a really good team, but he's been their best player by far, I think. He works so hard, gets into those dirty areas so well along the boards. Is going to be a great all-around center, maybe like a second or third line center who has some decent offensive potential. I mean, he just finds a way to score goals, and he works so hard for every point he gets, and truly just a workhorse, like kind of sniping forward that's really intriguing. The number 12 overall player, I have Anton Frundell. Now, Frundell is dealt with some inconsistencies between going from the Allsvenskan to the U20 team, and there has been some growing pains. But I think the hockey smarts and the physicality and just like the overall center game is very well, and the shot is fairly well as well. I mean, his hands are very good too. His skating could be a little bit better. It's solid, nothing spectacular. He does have some really nice skills and a really rounded out center role. The question for me is really how much offensive potential really is there with him, and is he just going to turn into an all-around third-line center, or is he going to show some pop with his skills and his shot? That's the question. And then he's got to be more productive. I mean, we see William Eklund having way more point totals with him on the same team. And going into this season, Frundell was supposed to be this amazing piece as maybe a top 5 pick, and Eklund's just outperforming him. But Anton Frundell, a really solid all-around center who has the tools. He's just got to show it and put it together. Some high upside pick for him. You can pretty much turn him into anything. The number 13th overall pick, the most interesting one, I have Ivan Ryabkin. Ryabkin is the weirdest player in this draft by far, because he was originally in the MHL starting off, getting not great point totals. Then he moved over to the VHL, wasn't in a top 6 role, and really not producing. He's a player that he cannot play in a bottom 6 role and is going to be a top 6 skillful forward. And the problem with me with Russia was it really feel like the confidence was low, and he didn't really have that game-breaking skill in the VHL, which is why he wasn't playing in a top 6 role. And he's not going to thrive in a third-line, fourth-line checking role, which is why there were some issues with Russia, and that's why he came over to Muskegon, and he has 3 goals in 2 games and really showing off that offensive skill. And he could even be higher than this. I mean, his hands, his shot, his skating, is all the tools to be just a dynamic offensive talent. He's just got to put it together, be more productive, and show more in the USHL. I've been keeping a close eye on him. If he just keeps up this pace of just scoring every game, having crazy point totals, he's going to rise for sure. The number 14th overall player, I have one of my favorites in the draft, actually, other than Radim Murtka. I have Cameron Reed. Now, Cameron Reed is very interesting because he was someone coming into this draft who was mainly looked around an all-around puck moving, smart positioning, good stick defensive player. But this season, I've really seen some very nice offensive potential with him. He's showing it so much more, and with his skating, his creativity has gone to a different level. He's mainly now an offensive defenseman now, with some very good smarts on D. I mean, kind of everything you want, honestly. Just a left-handed D who's a very smart player. He's got some good skills. The puck handling, the transition game with the passing is really good too. Distributes pucks very well and carries them well, and is a great two-way defenseman with some upside. With the 15th overall pick, we're actually going for more of a floor guy in a high floor guy, and Logan Hensler. Now, Hensler, there has been inconsistencies with Wisconsin because they're not the greatest team this year in the Big Ten, but Logan Hensler is a guy who's not gonna wow you with point totals or like the crazy offensive skill set, but he's just gonna be an all-around good D. I saw him play. He was on the World Junior team. He was eating up a fairly amount of minutes for them, just making smart plays with the decision making and the passing ability. And he's got some great skating abilities as well, and with a good stick. And he's just an all-around smart defenseman. He's just very effective when he's on the ice. Doesn't make mistakes, and it's got a pretty nice toolbox of being a good all-around two-way defenseman who will have some offensive flashes here and there. And I feel like he could be maybe a 4th or 5th defenseman for an NHL team. I think that's what he will be in the NHL level. And lastly, with the 16th overall pick, I have Braden Coots. Now, Coots is also one of my favorite players because he's just so fascinating because of what he does with his all-around game. Very smart in all three zones. Always his skating, never stops skating. Always so fast. Puck handling, he's a really good puck handler. He carries the mail really well. And he's very smart in all three zones, being very active with his stick, his body positioning. He's very good defensively. And he also has got a really nice release. I mean, he's got some good point totals in the Seattle Thunderbirds, but he's got a laser shot, and he's very quick, mature, defensive. He's everything you want in just an all-around center who's got a good skill set. And then with some honorable mentions, I have Cullen Potter out of the Arizona State. He's just a very flashy, kind of very skillful forward who's very solid. And if he could just increase those point totals, he'll be right there. I love the skill set, love the skating, love the creativity. A very flashy forward. Very nice for sure. And then some other ones I have was Justin Carbonneau. Just a very good offensive forward. Just a very good puck handler. He can absolutely rip a puck. I mean, he's just very creative with the skating, the skill set. He's more of a sniper. But he also has some good playmaking abilities, the skating, the puck handling. Very good offensive forward. I do like him a ton. Cameron Schmidt, just a pure goal scorer. He's a little guy, only 5'7", got some great speed out there, but he can absolutely wire a puck. He's on pace for like 50 goals here in the dub, and he is just a special player to watch. I mean, so quick on the ice. The only concern is that he's a little guy, but his goal scoring ability is so good. Jake O'Brien, I've really liked recently with his skill set, with the puck handling ability, the IQ. Been really a big fan of him lately. He's right there. And lastly, I have Jack Murtaugh. Murtaugh is just a very good all-around kind of power forward center who's also got a very nice release. Could be an all-around good center. Yeah, third or fourth line center, probably a third line center. I really do like him a ton. And that's going to do it for this one as the top 16 updated for the 2025 NHL draft. We'll see you.